Rather lads, welcome back to Cossy's Arsenal podcast. My name is Cossy. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in all parts of the world. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to a brand new video. I have a bit of flu, so that's why the voice is not actually coming out very well. I'm sorry for that, but I'll get better. Do not worry about that. We're going to be diving into the latest around Arsenal. Shakhtar Donetsk have internally agreed to sell MYKHAYLO. They have also internally set the price. We don't know the price they have actually internally said, but the manager, Igor Jovicevic, has come out and said, we want to sell, and as a big club we are, Shakhtar Donetsk, we know what to do. So they've internally come out and agreed to sell MYKHAYLO with all the pressure going on. Let's wait and see if this deal is going to happen for Arsenal or for any other club. Now, Arsenal also looking at Cody Gakpo in case the MYKHAYLO deal doesn't happen. He is the priority, but Cody Gakpo will be a backup. He wants to go to Manchester United, apparently, but Arsenal still keeping very, very close tabs on him in case we don't get MYKHAYLO. Arsenal interested in signing Federico Valverde, not in January, but we are interested in him, and he's one of the players that I really like in the world right now. Look, I think for me, Federico Valverde is one of the best central midfielders that any team can sign right now. I don't think Madrid can let him go, but we'll talk about that as well. And Albert Sambi-Lokonga is wanted by Napoli in Italy. They want to win the title, so they will do anything to strengthen, anything to make their squad as deep and strong as possible. But because Arsenal also want to win the title, so I don't think it's a good move for them to come to weaken us as they try to win their first Serie A in a lot of time. Hit the like button for me. Let's get this video to 300 likes. Subscribe to the podcast as well. And later on, we'll be having another video still featuring a lot of Arsenal stories, including Christian Pulisic. That will be coming up very, very shortly. Now, let's start off with the Shakhtar Donetsk story. This has been quoted by a couple of journalists, but Ben Jacobs is one of those journalists that actually are following this story very, very much. And most of my information, you've been asking me, where do I get this story? Where do I get updates on this story? It is on Twitter. Ben Jacobs is one of the journalists following this one very, very closely. The other one is Fabrizio Romano, but of course, Romano is not one journalist that really gives you heavy information, but people on this channel like day-to-day updates, so Ben Jacobs is the guy for you on this one. So he's come out and it's confirmed that Shakhtar Donetsk publicly are still saying 100 million euros and the player is not for sale, but internally they have already agreed on a price that will be acceptable if placed in front of them, and they've also internally agreed to sell the player as well. The decision to sell the player has been already communicated to the top manager, head coach Igor Jovicevic, who has come out and said, when we are going to sell a player like MYKHAYLO, we know what to do. Shakhtar is a big club, and we are going to be losing one of our best talents, one of the biggest talents in Ukraine football. So we know what to do. We'll take it step by step, and in the end, both parties will actually benefit. I'm not meaning Arsenal and Shakhtar. I'm meaning Shakhtar and MYKHAYLO. So Igor, I think here what Shakhtar have done is they've realized the player as one party is not happy staying in Ukraine. He wants to move on. He wants to get a new challenge. And also Shakhtar saying there is nothing bad in that. We're gonna get the money we want. Probably not 100 million, but if it's between 50 to 60 million pounds, then the player will be let to go. So that is a very huge step in terms of Arsenal signing MYKHAYLO, because I told you in January there are one or two things that actually matter. How easy is the deal, and what is the amount of time you're gonna spend on the deal? So what you need is a willing buyer and a willing seller as well in a market like January. So Shakhtar are slowly moving their feet over the line. They're moving into that zone where you can negotiate, you can engage with them, and you can also be able to see through them that there's gonna be a consensus coming up very, very shortly. So this doesn't mean that Arsenal is the only team they will sell to. By the way, I think this is where many people on Twitter got it wrong, because the moment this information came out, many people thought, okay, Arsenal is going to sign him. It is now a done deal and all that. There is information that the framework of the deal will be 40 million euros, just like I said yesterday, 40 million euros plus add-ons. Now, this deal can be done by any other club. And I want to make myself clear. I'm not saying Arsenal have agreed with Shakhtar. Shakhtar have agreed internally to sell the player to anyone that will give them £40 million. That is, cash. And then add-ons, including add-ons, which could take the deal to around 60 or even 70 million euros. The disadvantage Shakhtar do have in this one is that they are not going to have a bidding war in January. Of course, the clubs like Fiorentina have been very, very lucky. When you look at the bidding war that happened with Dusan Vlahovic in January, they were so lucky because in January, not so many clubs do have the money to, keep on competing with each other and splash all that money like that, just like in the summer. So I think there will not be a bidding war on Shakhtar Donetsk's MYKHAYLO MUBRYK. It's going to be how good and how well do we negotiate with Shakhtar Donetsk. I do trust Edu these days. I mean, man, he's been very, very good when it comes to convincing players and parent clubs to actually sign for us, to an extent that Manchester City have said they will never ever sell any player again to Arsenal because they were actually woodwinked into selling, and what happened was actually not very, very good. But anyway, according to Ben Jacobs, we are now another step closer to signing MYKHAYLO MUBRYK. There is an internal agreement within Shakhtar that the player will be sold for the right amount of money. And Shakhtar manager Igor Jovicevic has said, yes, no problem. We are going to be losing one of our best talents in Ukraine football, but there is no problem as long as we follow the right steps. We know what to do, and the player will actually be moving on. So time to be excited as Arsenal fans, but also time to be very cautious. What if another club comes in? What if another club comes in and try to swoop him away? What do we do? Now, what do we do is the question that we're going to be answering in this next piece of news, because according to a few sources in the Netherlands, Arsenal are still interested in Cody Gakpo. He was a priority. That was last summer, before actually June. Arsenal wanted to sign him, but I think there was some kind of confusion with the kind of player Mikel Arteta wanted and the profile that we were actually chasing. Remember, by the time the window was ending, we're trying to sign the likes of Pedro Neto, we're trying to sign the likes of MYKHAYLO MUBRYK, and we're trying to sign the likes of Moussa Diaby. And the key quality or component of all those players' games is they hold the pitch, they hold the width of the pitch. They always love to stay wide, and that is what Mikel Arteta has done with Saka and Gabriel Martinelli as well. With Cody Gakpo, we've seen it in the World Cup for Netherlands. He's one of those players that can actually hold the width of the pitch, because when they played, was it Senegal in the first game of the World Cup, I think it was coming he was coming from very far off the right. But when you look at the goal he scored, it actually speaks much about his game. He's more of another striker. He's more of a support striker. He loves to play more centrally rather than wide. I think that's why Mikel Arteta said, wait a minute, I want to see him again. I want to try to see if he has the qualities that I want. And in the end, Arsenal decided that we will not sign him. We'll try to sign either Pedro Neto, MYKHAYLO MUBRYK, or Moussa Diaby. But in my opinion, I'm going to say this, guys. Yes, it doesn't hold the width of the pitch and length and whatever like we want. But it's one player that has a lot of potential to do and become anything you want him to do. He's tall. He gives us that aerial prowess, aerial presence in the penalty area. He's a hell of a striker. He's a hell of a finisher. This season, last campaign, his numbers are absolutely insane. But Mikhail says he's only going to be a backup. And for me, I don't see how Arsenal failed to get MYKHAYLO MUBRYK. So I don't see how Arsenal get Cody Gakpo. But the good thing, even if we don't sign Cody Gakpo, we will be seeing him and watching him in the Premier League. He will be signing for Manchester United. They are his priority, and United have also made him a priority as well. So let's wait and see. Cody Gakpo, if he doesn't go to Man United, then he might go to Arsenal. That is if we don't get MYKHAYLO MUBRYK. But between the two, I would still back Arsenal to sign MYKHAYLO MUBRYK. I think MUBRYK is more of a winger, out and out winger, loves to play loves to play on the flanks, loves to hold his width, loves to take on players from wider areas and then just create a lot of space for other players to run into. Napoli are interested in signing Albert Sambi Lokonga. on loan in January. Now, Napoli are trying to win the title. You remember when I was talking about how Arsenal do not score goals, and I was mentioning almost every club on top of the table. Napoli are leading the table in the Italian Serie A. I think their main goal scorer is Victor Osimhen, who has scored 9 goals this campaign. But what I like about Napoli is the way they have just organized these players, the way they have just, no one expected them after losing so many of their key players or players that have actually been there for quite a long period of time, the likes of Lorenzo Insigne and the others. You thought they would need a year or two to actually harness all this quality, harness all this talent that they have in the squad and probably compete. But they have already started competing. They've started the season so well. And this is why Arsenal cannot sell Albert Sambi Lokonga to Napoli. Yes, it is jealousy, it is being envious, and I got no problem with that. I'm jealous that Napoli want to win the title by weakening us. It cannot happen. I mean, if we are any ambitious, if we are any smart, this is something we cannot do. We cannot let another club go and strengthen as we weaken ourselves. Our motive is the same. We are leading our league tables almost by a difference of 5 points. And we have all actually done very well. So if Napoli want to strengthen, they can't go to Manchester City. It would be very, very good for them to sign Ike Gundogan. That weakens Manchester City. But letting Albert Sambi Lokonga go, even when we get Tielemans and Danilo, is actually a big mistake. We still have the Europa League coming up. We still have a few games coming up. That includes the FA Cup, and we have also so many games coming in October. Not in October, but in May, in March, in February as well. So we cannot let Albert Sambi Lokonga go. I'm one of those people who are still very big fans of him. Yeah, many of you don't like him on the channel, but it's not the time to let him go. If Arsenal want to lend him out, if Arsenal want to sell him, it should be done in the summer. Now, we also do have another problem. Arsenal do want another player from AC Milan, and that player is Ismail Benassa. He's played for Arsenal before, and I think this is where many of the journalists actually exaggerating the story that Arsenal want to bring back an ex-boy. Now, Ismail Benassa is one of those very good midfielders. I do follow Milan a lot of the time, and you can trust my word when I say that guy is good. He's not a starter because that partnership between Sandro Tonali and and a few other players has actually taken game time away from him. But these are deals that are a very, very big problem for Arsenal. You don't want to focus on such deals in January. They're not easily doable. Yes, Milan could give us Ismail Benassa, but it's highly likely that we will sit in negotiations for Benassa almost the whole of January. And then in the end, we do not get the player. I don't like such deals. I want deals that are crispy. I like deals that are quick. I like deals that are, positive. I like deals that are really, really doable. The Ismail Benassa deal, if you want to waste time on that, wait in the summer. And finally, Arsenal do have interest in Federico Valverde. Now, however much I think about Federico Valverde, I like him. He's one of the best players in the world right now for me. Best central midfielder by far in the UEFA Champions League. But can Arsenal sign Federico Valverde? Yeah, we can. Can Madrid give us Federico Valverde unless they're in their wrong mind, just like they gave us Martin Odegaard? With Madrid, this is one of their problems. At some point in time, they will let Angel Di Maria go. At some point in time, they will let Mesut Ozil go. At some point in time, they will let a player like Martin Odegaard go. So they're not highly reliable to keep such talents. I won't be very surprised if someone walks in one day and after 2 or 3 seasons, they're selling Federico Valverde or they're selling Vinicius Jr. because that is what they do. At times, they don't have that longevity that clubs like Bayern, clubs like Barcelona do have. But anyway, Federico Valverde is wanted by Arsenal. I mean, when we were scouting MYKHAYLO MUBRYK, we also technically scouted Federico Valverde. But in my opinion, he's not for sale. I know that's what Madrid will tell us. He's not for sale. We appreciate your scouting. We appreciate, the kind of value adding to our player, but he's actually not for sale. And I don't have a problem. It's the same. It's the same thing. If anyone came in for Xhaka right now, if anyone came in for Odegaard right now, it's a simple answer. They are not for sale. Now, I'm struggling with flu, but I'm happy we have actually come to the end of the video. I will be shooting one more news piece, including the likes of Christian Pulisic and a few other transfer rumors that I think are important for us to know today.